कुंजा विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंजा विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी राधा माधव कुंजा विहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन
यमुना तीरा वनचारी
यमुना तीरा वनचारी
राधा माधव कुंजा विहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha Jamasundara, Radha Jamasundara, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Jai Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivraj Kacharya Stotra Satasya Srimad Dhruvange Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Vishnupada Paramahansa Parivraj Kacharya Stotra Satasya Srimad Dhruvange Bhakti Siddhanta Satakar Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananda Koti Vaishnavand ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि से वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगमय यमुनामय की जय। भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत भक्तवृंद की जय। हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद। हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories. Shri Guru and Gauranga Prabhupada Jai. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishkaya Putre Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Vidram Namaste Sara Suddhe. Gauravani Prachar Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Panchant Destarne. I'm getting resound. Some speaker is there. Devotees are there. Kids are there. Kids. I hope no video games going on. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayak Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hari Om Tat Sat. Maybe sound reduce sound. Yeah. Okay. The pattern will be first we will sing Damodar verses Govinda Damodar Madhaveti from 19 to 5 verses, and then we'll read the beautiful pastimes of Lord Krishna being bound by Yasodamai with rope, and then we'll understand few instructions. This is part 3 of Damodar Lila Katha. No, this is not in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is called Bello Mangal Thakur's Govinda Damodar Stuti, verse number 19. You just repeat the last line. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. That you can repeat. Okay. Kvachit prabhate dadipurna patre निक्षिप्यमन्तं युवती मुकुन्दम् आलोक्य गानं विविधं करोति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति क्रीडापरं भोजनमज्जनार्दम् हितैषिणी स्त्रीतनुजं यशोदा आजुहवत् प्रेम परिप्लुताक्षी गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति 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 सुखं शयानं निलये च विष्णुम् देवर्षिमुख्या मुनया प्रपन्ना तेनाच्युते तन्मयतां व्रजन्ति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति विहाय निद्रामरुणोदये च विदाय कृत्यानि च विप्रमुख्या वेदवासने प्रपतन्ति नित्यम् गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति माधवेति वृन्दावने गोपगणाश्च गोप्यो विलोक्य गोविन्द वियोग खिन्नम् राधम् जगो साश्रुविलोचनभ्यम् गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. We'll read the translation before that. So, this is the special Damodar month. There is a two Damodars. I don't know how many of you know. There is a Lord Vishnu's name is Damodar. There are 24 names of Lord Vishnu, depending on the Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, in which way, which direction he holds, there is a different name. That's why on the 12 parts of our body, we put tilak. Om Keswaya Namaha, Om Narayan Madhavan, like that. There are 12 parts, the 12 names. Each month, we have 12 months in a year. Each month has the Lord Vishnu's name. So there are 4 months, Chaturmasa it is called. Start with Sravana, Bhadra, Ashvina, and Kartika. These are 4 months. Sridhara, Rishikesha, Padmanabha, Damodara. These are Lord Vishnu's names. So the Damodar month, which we are calling, is in one sense they are the same. Lord Vishnu equal to Lord Rama equal to Lord Krishna, but is a little more higher. If you go deeper, this is Radha Damodar. This specific month, which we are calling as Damodar month, Kartik month, is specifically we are talking about Radha Damodar. So which you see the deity there. I just brought small deity, Yashoda binding baby Krishna. So that is the Radha Damodar. The other Damodar is Vishnu's name. So is in more Aishwarya Bhav. Here he is in more Vatsalya Bhav and Madhurya Bhav. So baby Yashodamai binding Krishna is in Vatsalya Bhav. Radharani binding Krishna is in the Madhurya Bhav. So here that is so the 4 months of Chaturmasa period is where one can actually increase the devotional activities. Out of those 4 months, the last month is even more important. Dama and Udara means Lord Krishna is being bound by a rope. It's a tie of affection. So everybody in Vrindavan. So today we are going to pick up one point. So that has a two instructions from it, because so that we can easily remember. So this is a part three. We are continuing. So in part three, we are going to look at how Damodar, baby Krishna, is very much affectionate to his mother, very greedy for mother's love, very greedy for the love of his devotees. So he wants to be bound. That's why he's going and stealing everybody's butter, yogurt, makan, mystery, you name it, all the milk products. If nothing is there, he's going to pinch the babies and he's going to make them cry, or he's going to release the calves and so that they will complete fully the milk of the mother. And then so all the mischiefs. So this is what Lord Krishna is engaging in as a baby form, only 5 years or less. So that is the pastime we are discussing. So that's why here Bilamangal Thakur, remembering that Lord, so is singing these 72 verses Damodar Stuti. So Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Govinda means one who gives pleasure to the gopis, gopas, cohort boys, the brahmanas. So that's what Govinda means. Go means senses, go means gopas, go means gopis, go means cows. So all these meanings are there. Vinda means one who gives pleasure. So they are trying to give pleasure to Krishna, and Krishna wants to give pleasure to them. Govinda, Damodara, as which we mentioned already. Lord Krishna being bound by the rope, Dama and Udara. Udara means belly. His belly cannot, no one can bound because he's everywhere pervaded all over the universe. So how one can bind all over the universe with a rope? It's not possible. But the same Lord can become so small, Yasodamai can bind Krishna. Still she had a hard time binding because it took so many ropes. Still somehow finally he contracted himself, then she could bind. So that is Damodar and Madhava. One who is full of opulence. He's opulence, but he's not attracted by that opulence. So Aishwarya, the opulence which we generally see in this material. But he's talking about the opulence of his devotees, attraction, his love. So intensity, the intense greed to serve Krishna, to love Krishna, to be with Krishna, to play with Krishna, to feed Krishna, to dress Krishna. So this is what here the intention and the mood. This whole pastime is about the greed. But right in this material world, opposite things are happening. And so that means we have greed for the all other things except Krishna. So now that transformation has to happen. So that greed has to be transferred in order to. This is the important one. Please pay attention. In Srimad Bhagavata, in many places, it starts actually originates from Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, if you look at chapter 3, Karma Yoga, Krishna is talking about clearly about this point. There are three problems in Karma Yoga. For action to be perfected, for ordinary karma to become a spiritual karma, that means karma to become the akarma. Ordinary karma is pious and impious. For both the cases, we have to enjoy and suffer in this material. We have to come back into this world, enjoy and suffer. So ordinary karma is not going to get us away from this and go back to spiritual. It's not possible. So we have to do something beyond that. That is called akarma. That means doing activity for the Supreme Lord. So the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is meant for this only. Because five topics are being mentioned in Bhagavad Gita: Isvara, Jiva, Kala, Prakriti, Karma. All these four are already eternal. Isvara is eternal. Jiva also as a soul is eternal. Prakriti is coming and going, but is also eternal, going on. Kala is also eternal. Time factor is not stopping for anybody. Only fourth one, the karma is not eternal. So in this life we have performed activities. Next life again we have to start from ABCD. We have to start everything from the beginning. But the Krishna conscious activity, the activity which is done for the Lord, that will stay in our eternal credit, permanent credit. And where we stop, we'll continue there. So that's why that karma is called not ordinary karma. That is called Bhagavad Arpita karma. It is also called akarma, where it has no material reactions. So and in that chapter, Lord Krishna is talking about what is causing the action to not become akarma. The three problems Lord is indicating in the chapter 3. At the end of chapter 16, also divine demoniac war. Right now, we have the unwanted tendencies in the heart, the what we call lust, anger, greed, envy, jealousy, the the six demons, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakasipu, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Sisupal, Dantas. The six demons are representing six enemies, six anarthas in the heart of the living entity. How one can transform that tendency of asuric tendency to divine tendency, demoniac tendency to divine and demoniac, chapter 16 title. In that also same problem is mentioned in the last. So this is the context, So now we'll offer our prayers, we'll read the pastime, and then we'll come to this. So please put this in the back burner. We're talking about karma to akarma, the material greed to the spiritual greed. So these two things, remember these 2 points, then we'll come back to it. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmelitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Lange Yat Krupatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Denataram Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Iswaram Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Krupa Sindhupayavacha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमाचर दास ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। रूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। So thank you all for joining. So we're discussing this Damodar Lila. We'll read the sweet pastime about how this pastime has happened, because there are so many glories, endless glories. So time is not enough to discuss. So in the Hari Bhakta Vilas, in many Puranas, this is being described. Out of 12 months, anything we do in this special month, so many things are mentioned. In Damodar month, also another name Kartik Vrata, another name Urja Vrata, there are few other names are there. Very special month. Anybody who does spiritual activity in this month is 100 times benefit than any other day in the rest of the months. That is special. That means it talks about so many things. Eating only, minimizing the eating, or waking up early in the morning, one who is chanting, one who is simply nothing else but simply offering a lamp to baby Krishna. Yasoda Krishna, Damodar Krishna, Radha Damodar. Immense benefits. All his sinful activities nullified. So many benefits are listed. So from Padma Purana, so many different Puranas, different Upanishads, different places. All the glories of this specific Kartik month is being discussed. If one is suffering from anything, then they must perform this month specifically. They should take shelter of Radha Damodar, Yashoda Damodar, and at least offer a lamb, which is doesn't cost much. Every day anybody can offer throughout this month. So it doesn't take much time either, 5-10 minutes a day. So we should offer. So any lamp, even candle, fine, whatever you have. It doesn't need to be ghee lamp. So whatever. It's basically you're offering your heart to the Lord. That's what we are trying to do through this lamp. When you go to Ganga, what you'll do? What can you offer? You can't offer anything. You take the same water of Ganga and you offer back. So you're not really offering much, but that is also a gesture of actually you want to do something. So to Ganga. So same thing here also. Everything Lord possesses. There is nothing which you can give it to Lord. So only you yourself. So I am yours, oh my Lord. So through various things we offer like that. So that is this special month has many things has been talked about how one can do different things. Chanting, hearing, coming to temple, taking darshan of the Lord, attending the arati, doing any service. We talks about also even the mouse getting a liberation, just unknowingly entering into the on the lamp, arati on the lamp, and getting burned and passed away, and then went to Vaikuntha. Even a rat, mouse. So like that, the many glories are being discussed. So a special month. So that's it's very important to so pay attention to this special month so that one can actually alleviate from all kinds of problems, material problems for sure, but spiritually also one can advance very quickly. One can develop faith and develop love for the Lord very quickly. So let us read now. This is from Gopal Champu by Srila Jiva Goswami, one of the six Goswamis, chapter number 8. When the cowherds seated themselves in the assembly the next day in the early morning, Snigdha Kanta, these are coming from the spiritual world, they're two parrots, pet parrots. All the animals are there in the spiritual world also, like in the material world. But here it's perverted reflection, there it's completely in pure goodness. There is no tinge of any material qualities there. So these parrots are also transcendental. So those two parrots are talking here, discussing about Krishna's pastimes. Snigdha is one of the parrots. Once at the end of Kartik month, joyful Yasas, because this pastime is happening on Diwali, which is almost mid-month. So 31st is Diwali in this month. Govardhan Puja is Friday, following day, November 1st. Joyful Yashoda saw that Krishna was sleeping with his eyes, which were beautiful as blue lotuses, closed. Caressing him gently with her hand as he lay on the bed, she left him asleep. slowly leaving the bed and going outside the room. She quickly tied up her cloth to engage in household chores in the early morning and began churning yogurt. This is a common theme you can see throughout Damodar Lila, very similar to our children might have done many of these things. So you can very much relate. So that means you can easily you can understand that material greed can be easily transformed to spiritual greed. Just like these activity Krishna is performing is showing that mm, now as you are attracted to your own child, now you attract to me, so then you can get actually the highest perfection. That's all you have to do. Not so much so difficult. So it's easy. That's why I'm coming here for your purpose only to deliver you. On that day, Rohini mounted a chariot with Balarama and went to the house of Upananda by a special invitation as if pulled by the ropes of affection. The affectionate servants came to complete their work. They were busily engaged because a great festival of Indra, traditional in the family, which is Gordhan Puja, respected by all the people, would be held at the beginning of the last month of the year, Margasirsha. While the servant women were arriving for their jobs, Yashoda was carefully engaged in churning the yogurt and singing. While thinking that today her son was sleeping late, absorbed in her son, she began singing about his pastimes while gazing at his face. Sukadeva has said, Yani yani ha gitani tadbhala charitani cha dadi nirmantana kale smaranti tani agayata. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, verse number 1 of chapter 9. One day, when Mother Yashoda saw all maid servants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn the yogurt. While churning, she remembered the childish activities of Krishna in her own way. She composed songs and enjoyed singing to herself about all those activities. This is how it used to be in Vedic culture. I myself observed it. My mother used to sing, others also used to sing. Krishna songs relate to devotional songs. Now it's completely opposite is happening. So musical, the movie songs people are singing. But this is the tradition of Sanatana Dharma, Bhagavad Dharma, always centered around the Lord. She had a belt shining with jewels on her blue swaying cloth and was decorated with attractive jingling bells. She churned the yogurt with her two hands repeatedly while looking at the face of her son, who was just beginning to open his eyes. Her song, O Tilaka of the family of Nanda, is almost like we sing. I don't know, many of you may be aware, especially if you're South India, so you will be aware about the Tilak. So, what is that verse? I'm also forgetting. Uh, Lord Krishna, so Tilak has been explained. I'm forgetting already. Beautiful verse. It's a famous verse. Let's see if I remember. But let's finish this reading. O Tilaka of the family of Nanda, you are living in Vraja. Since the people here have done hundreds of pious acts, you have been given them great happiness. Seeing your actions, the eyes became joyful. By the great festival arising from this bliss, you give bliss to all the cohorts. O King of Gokula, filled with auspicious action of killing Putana. You engage only at 3 years old, Lord, baby Krishna killed Putana. You engage in auspicious acts after overturning the cart. This is another second demon, Trinavrata, which destroyed the cart demon. The steadiness of our hearts. The Supreme Lord has brought you back after he killed the whirlwind demon. You crawl about the beautiful yard, lotus-eyed child. You are the greatest piety. You show the greatest skill at dancing and playing. It is mentioned that one should offer lotus flowers to Lord Narayan. Then he will have all the opulence he needs. Lakshmi Devi is always there. One should offer jasmine flowers to Radha Damodar. So all these are mentioned in the glories of Kartik. So many things are mentioned like this. You appear most attractive when you hold on to the calves' tails. You show false greed in arguing for fun with the elders. So it has begun already. Greed, false greed. Oh Krishna, because he has everything. Why he needs to steal? He's only stealing for us. He wants to steal our hearts. He wants to transform our material greed into spiritual greed. That's why. Oh Krishna, always give happiness to me, your mother. Stay in the house always. Please reveal your playful antics and quickly grow. You showed the power of the Lord, causing astonishment in showing the universe within you. This has happened before. Krishna ate mud. Before that, also Krishna wants to eat the moon or see the moon. So that time was two times it happened. Lord opened the mouth and whole universe, Mother Yashoda saw within Krishna's mouth. That's what is being talked here. May your body remain without old age and death and become the cause of joy by worshipping the Lord. The ocean of beauty woke up and immediately began crying. Getting up, he went to his mother. He appeared to his mother, and the others as follows. Yeah, so Kasturi Talake Lalata Palake Vakshastale Kaustubham Nasagre Navamoktikam Karatale Venum Kare Chakankanam Kante Chamuktavali Gopastri Parivestito Vijayate चूड़ामणि सर्वांगे हरिचंदनं च कलयन्. I'm forgetting some of the verses. This is Belomangal Thakur's stuti, one of the stuti. He has written many like this Krishna Karnamrita, Govinda Lilamrita, many has written. This is also one of the song written. This is I have heard many times throughout my childhood. This particular like this, there are a few other songs which generally the mothers, elders sing regularly as they do their regular chores. This used to be the tradition. Nowadays, I don't know if any mother is sing. I have not seen it lately. This is how modern day civilization is changing. So that is the problem. So hopefully, maybe we can fix it. Breathing heavily, bending his limbs, rubbing his eyes, he cried, Mother, mother. Hearing the sound of churning, he walked on, faltering feet to his mother. When Krishna stopped the movement of churning rod with his soft words filled with affection, caused by mother's caring attitude, Yashoda fed the infant milk. Sometimes children will come and close their mother's eyes from the back. Tell me who I am. So different things they do. So Krishna is also doing like these naughty things, mischievous things, childish things. When the milk flowed from Yashoda like a monsoon rains, Krishna was like a Chataka bird drinking those showers. The Chataka bird sing only the rain drops of water. Chataka bird never drinks from anywhere else. That is the only thing they will do. That is special bird, Chataka bird. When Krishna had only half finished drinking, Yashoda, thinking that the milk in the next room may be boiling over, put Krishna down and went to other room, thinking that she may drop him since she was moving very fast. Madhukanta said, "How could this happen? How could she think of leaving her son, who was becoming thin from hunger, since she was the spotless example of love for her child?" So basically, because Lord of the Universe all the way coming from Golok Vrindavan, so to be with the law, to be with Yasodamai performing this pastime, and then Yasodamai is leaving the baby Krishna and then doing something else. So he became so mad and upset. So that's why this pastime has actually stemmed from there, causing the Lord to become angry and breaking everything and stealing everything and throwing the yogurt, butter, whatnot. So we'll see further. Snigdakanta spoke with a smile. First, hear this. Some of our children might have done it. So I myself have done it. So I remember still. Since Yashoda was the perfection of motherly affection, Madhukanta said, "What is that?" Snigdakanta said, his parents thought, "This is my son," and from the birth had possessiveness with complete disregard for their own bodies and houses. Brahma has said the following concerning all the people of Raja, what to speak of his parents. So, what is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavana, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relations, bodies, children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you? They only know about Krishna. 24 by 7 they are thinking of Krishna only, nothing else. So, that is why Vrindavan consciousness. So their greed is spiritual greed. Since the milk and yogurt were for Krishna, they were even more attractive than Krishna. This is the special nature of our love. This was her way of thinking. And during great difficulties, she was not aware of her household chores that should be done. She thought more of Krishna as her son than her body and the house. Making Krishna the object of her compassion, she thought that her duty was to serve Krishna. Krishna also understood that her scolding and punishment were her show of affection. It's just like, the child, he may be grown up, he may be in college, whatever, maybe he may come back to home after so long. So mother will forget everything, put her task duties on the side. She'll spend time with the mother. So it is something like that. Here, Yasodama is constantly thinking of Krishna, but it's not once in a while. Whole life is like that only. Yasodama is constantly thinking of our son only. So, because that is the intensity of the affection. What more can be said of our affectionate caring for him? When the inhabitants of Raja became angry with him, it increased their love for him. just as sometimes the fire of lightning is seen in the thick cloud. So the mother and the son mutually benefit each other. When she went to take the milk off the fire, she spoke in joy. I worship you with Aratika. But for a moment, please protect the churning pot. After taking care of the milk, I will come as quickly as I can. While she quickly went from the churning place and then returned, the cloth covering her breast completely sprinkled path with milk. But because his desire was obstructed, Krishna became very upset. His lips red with anger. Remember this, because this is the paragraph when we are singing. This is what the translation is. His lips red with anger. So the second verse after 8 verses we are going to sing. It is called Damodar Ashtakam. 8 verses glorifying the Lord Damodar. So the second verse representing his beauty. When he became upset, also is so beautiful. His lips red with anger and tears flowing from his eyes, he began to cry. He broke the pot with some stones, but did not touch a particle of the butter. Poets describe this. The white moons of his teeth became red like the lips, and his eyes, like chakora birds, became filled with tears. With his two lotus hands, he destroyed the yogurt pot, showing his strength. He wants to show because he is very upset with his mother. Why did she leave? I am here and she is doing something else as though I am less important. That is very important. The yogurt within remained intact. Krishna then created another festival. What is he going to do now? So call all his friends. He carefully took the ghee from hanging pot and began eating it. He then took the ghee pot away through the side doors. That's why this whole month we are going to offer lots of milk, yogurt, butter, mystery, makan, mystery dahi, all these products. This is what Krishna likes because his babies, that's what they like. Not so much fruits and dry nuts. You can offer those also, but Yasodama is offering all these also, but Krishna likes these things more. Even when he's grown up also, yogurt rice. In South India, that's more famous because Brahma stealing the Brahma Vimohan Lila. That's what is happening. Brahma saw Lord is having a yogurt rice in the hand. He was completely bewildered. He is not my Lord. Why is he eating in the left hand? So, as per Shastra, you are not supposed to eat with the left hand. But he is eating here. So, that means he is not my Lord. He is some ordinary cowherd boy. So, let me test it. So, then he failed his test. So, miserably failed. So, that's when he realized he actually is my Lord. He is performing this pastime. So carefully he struck the door panel to loosen the bolt and then entered the storeroom, bolting the door after entering, using a wooden bed to climb. He stole the ghee and then fled while no one was looking. Yasoda, seeing the milk had thickened on the stove, took the pot off and quickly returned to her son. Knowing the types of actions of her son, she felt both anger and joy, and then smiled. Though she was worried at first, a message from the sky caused her to smile. You want to become a butter thief? Is that what it is? Yeah, but I don't have butter here. So the voice from the sky said, the baby bee, being very thirsty, has not been fully satisfied with honey, and has thus broken the lotus bud. On breaking the lotus and seeing only the contents flow out without the honey, the bee has gone to another lotus and obtained honey. Moreover, you have shown skill in taking the milk off the fire, but you will be praised more for your ability to pacify the anger of your son. Hearing this, he smiled, seeing his footprints of buttermilk, which indicated the path of his theft, which we discussed already, the what is indicating. That is indicating the Lord Krishna leaving these footprints is the Acharya Parampara. You have to understand everything through the Parampara. As we have gone to the college and everything through a teacher, we approach the teacher, we learn. We didn't sit at home, only exception. Candidates have studied at home without going to any college. That's an exception thing. But in general, we always follow the parampara. Some teacher, when our problem, we go through a proper doctor. So it's the same thing here also. We need to understand these pastimes and about the Lord only through a proper parampara. But it's not to be read and understood through Google, internet, Doordarshan. So that's not how we can understand this knowledge. So by her own means, she was able to unbolt the door and then she acted as follows. When Yashoda left the room and saw that her son had made mischief, she followed him and then saw him as he was looking around with fearful eyes. He was moving his eyes about. I have stolen the ghee. My mother will see me. How will I meet her gaze? Fearing her, he moved his eyes from ear to ear. He overturned a mortar and sat on while feeding monkeys. See, Krishna loves every animal. In Vrindavan, everyone is there. So even Golok Vrindavan, in the spiritual world, in earthly planet, Bhama Vrindavan. Every holy place, Jagannath Puri, Madrinath, so Ayodhya, Dwaraka, Mathura, all these places are there in spiritual world. When Lord comes, he also brings all of those holy places here also. Lord Ramsar brings Ayodhya, Lord Jagannath brings Jagannath Puri here. So all of them are there in the spiritual world. Because he wants to attract, he wants us to take back to the spiritual world. That's why. As his eyes moved here and there, seeing him do this, Yashoda smiled slightly and became filled with astonishment. Also remember, the Uttan Ekadasi, Lord is going to wake up. 4 months is like one fraction of second for this Karanodaka Vishnu, Mahavishnu lying down. Chaturmasa starts, Sravana Mantha starts with the Lord sleeping. It is called Ashada Shayana Ekadasi, I think, in July. And then when he wakes up, that is important. More than that, the important is when Lord is waking up. So last Ekadasi, which is on November, I think 12th, Tuesday. So I think 12th. Remember that. That's very important. That Ekadasi, somehow or the other, you make your fast. And somehow or the other, do some devotional activities. And that will be, is the amazing benefits one will get. That is also written in Kartik Mahatmya glories. It's called Uttan Ekadasi, and it is also one of our spiritual master disappearance day. Shall Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj disappearance day. So very prominent, very important day. Uttana means waking up. Lord has waking up from after 4 months. For us, it's 4 months. For demigods, it's our 6 months is one day. It is less than a day. For the Lord Vishnu, it is not even one day. It is only a minute or so, or less than a minute. Because his time period is so long. So it's so small. For us, it's so long. So because everything is relative in this material. That's why there's a difference. In spiritual world, everything, there's no time factor. So the she elderly, she silently approached. It's so small, it is hard to read. Light is also a little bit small. It's not effulgent. In order to catch her thieving son, but seeing her, he began to flee. It is well known that thief has 100 eyes, whereas the owner of wealth has only 2 eyes. The proud monkeys became full from eating the butter. How much they can eat? So Yashoda took a stick and covering it with cloth approached. Seeing her, he quickly climbed a tree. Much better. Thank you. She, yeah, perfect. She ran after her fleeing son, but the flowers fell from her bound hair. King of thieves, where are you going? His beauty increased by his indistinct smiling and crying. Smiling and crying, both he's doing together. She pursued him to catch him, but she could not catch him. Just how can we catch? Elder and one is young. Young can run as fast as he can. Just as a group of clouds going west by the wind cannot catch a small cloud going to the east. He ran where he thought his mother could not follow him. Thinking no one else was around, she followed him. There is no way one can catch the Lord. Only if Lord wants to be caught, then only he will allow. Just like Jarasandha was walking. Jarasandha was running. Kala Yavana was running. But they couldn't catch. Krishna and Balaram only walking. But they couldn't catch him. Because it is like the Acharyas explained that because Balram and Krishna, Balram is assisting Krishna. He's expanding the whole universe. So he's expanding all these material world, spiritual world. That is Balram's job. Balram is all the bell, mat, is Ananta Sesh. Everything is Balram. Lord is assisting. Lord Balram is assisting Krishna. Sometimes he comes as elder, or anger like Lakshmana. So he comes in different forms, anger or elder. So assist Lord Krishna. That is Balram's job. So when he's walking, he's expanding. When you want to contrast, he will contrast. But they cannot see. Nobody can see what's happening. So they can't catch Krishna. Even though he might be walking, but no one can catch. If he allows, if he is pleased with the person, then he will allow to be caught. Otherwise, no one can catch Krishna. In Upanishad that is mentioned. But he is there in the spiritual world all the way. How can you catch him? But he can. When you offer bhoga, his hands can be stretched from all the way there to here. He can eat. He can accept. So everything, all the contradictions are there in the Supreme Lord. So he's the great stealer. At the same time, he's not stealing. So because everything belongs to him, what he's going to steal? Everything is his property only. So all the contradictions can exist in the Supreme Lord. That is the beauty of this. She persuaded him to catch him, but she could not catch him. Just as he ran where he thought that his mother could not follow him. Thinking no one else was around, she followed him. When he ran without looking back, she could not catch him. When he looked back in fear, she was able to catch him with her hand. He used his eyes to try to find some way of escaping and began weeping to remove his mother's anger. He made his body falsely tremble out of boldness. Our children also do that. But he could not wipe out his bad behavior. When she came face to face with him, he tried to cover his ghee soaked limbs by smearing himself with dust. Seeing this, Yashoda said, "If you want to steal in this house, then look at this stick in my hand." When her lotus-eyed son was overcome with fear on hearing this, because first time Yashoda is taking a stick with his child, she threw down her stick because she is afraid that he is going to run away from home, may not come back. Then how can she live? So that is her fear. Mother, do not beat me. With a hidden smile, she said. But he said, she said, but you are a thief. In this way, a quarrel began. Ah, you are the king of thieves. Your father's lineage is all thieves. In this way, the mother argued with the infant who had stolen the ghee. How did the yogurt pot grow? It was the Supreme Lord stick who gave ghee to the monkeys. He who created monkeys gave it to them. The argument back and forth. You see the. I think that you always taste and eat the pressed ghee meant for sacrifices. After Yashoda scolded the infant as a thief, her heart softened. Smiling but with anger, she said, "You should tell your secret and give up your pride." When his mother said this, her son began weeping. When you ran quickly, the pot broke because of being struck by your anklets. What is my fault in this? He's arguing. See the argument. Inspired by the Lord, the monkeys entered the house to steal. When they pulled, uh, when they pulled at the ghee, I caught it. What is my fault? Seeing you holding a stick, I ran away like a thief. Seeing that I was frightened, you tried to mercilessly beat me without justice. Krishna is arguing. Yashoda spoke with repentance. Oh, best of thieves with clever words. Though you are the son of the king of Raja, you are the fond of monkeys and have the nature of monkey. Fearful and to give fear to his mother, he said, if I am a monkey, then I will go to the forest and stay there. His mother began to worry with fear. So Yashoda is very sensitive because that's all is a very close, intense relationship she has. Who can understand him? A proud child will do this. I must tie him up to prevent this. She doesn't want to see Krishna run away. So that's why, at least for timing, she wants to bind him up so that he will not run away from his home. Since I am alone and cannot continue to pay attention to both the house and this child, naughty child, but she spoke aloud, "O thief, oh, you bewilders everyone with your restless eyes. Do not think of avoiding me. After binding you up, I will go to the house quickly. If you show your strength, then steal something else." When she began tying him up, he became so angry that he breathed with a hissing sound. He said, "Rohini, where have you gone with Balaram?" So see that pastime is happening. That's why all these things happen. Nothing is by chance. Because as Krishna wants to do something, then his Icha Shakti automatically different personalities will do the Lord's job. Whatever Lord is desiring. He doesn't need to do any extra endeavor. As he thinks, automatic things will happen. So Rohini and Balram went already. They're not. No one is on the scene. So for this pastime to happen. Where have you gone with Balram? Because you are not here. She is binding me up. Please come quickly. Because Rohini was far away, she could not hear. But other women who were neighbors who had previously scolded him heard his cries and came. They laughed and said, "Has he done anything at your house?" So that she would remember her own previous words. Ignoring their words, she took an old string from her hair and began binding him around the waist to the mortar near the outer door. Just as Rudra's followers bound up Daksha to teach him a lesson, but the string was 2 fingers too short. She took another silk string from her hair and tied the two together, but still the string was 2 fingers short. This is what it is interesting. Because he is the Damodar, he is the Lord of the universe. So how can one try? It's not possible. That's why he's not. Unless he allows, there is no way one can try. So that's why this is happening. And that to 2 fingers is explained as endeavor and mercy. One has to put his endeavor, then Lord has to allow it to happen. So you can do so many things, which we mentioned many times in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 13th verse. Lord is describing that there are many reasons for anything to happen. There are five reasons, mainly five reasons. Out of that, the Daiva is the ultimate reason. Adhishtanam tata karta karanam cha pratak vedam vivdais cha pratak chesta daivam evatra the panchamam. The fifth reason is the ultimate topmost reason. If God is not willing, you may try up and down, jump, do so many things. It's not going to happen. So that everything is there in his hands. The last reason is in his hand. So that's why he has to be willing. Uh, So that's why we say that even though I want to wake up, I want to chant, I want to come to temple, I want to attend class. Yes, I want. But if Lord is not giving, that's why we say that we'll add at the end. If Guru and Krishna willing, then I'm going to do this. So yes, I'm going to do it, but on his strength. On my strength, if I think I can do, I may not be able to do it. So that's why we need his mercy also, the endeavor and mercy both. And now that our Lord will do anyway, so I will depend on the Lord, I will not do anything. That also not good. So we have to try, but at the same time, we have to depend on the Lord. Both things has to happen. So the same thing is happening here as well. So that is what is explained here. So Daivam Evatra Pancham. So that is very important. She took another silk, just as a cloud touching a far mountain appears not to touch it. So the rope around his waist appeared to be 2 fingers too short. The other woman laughed and said, "Oh, Yashoda, we told you previously that he makes the original thief, Kapalaka." So I don't know this past time. But tremble by his great power of bewilderment. He knows himself to be a thief, taking joy in eating stolen goods. She said, he was born at the wrong time. Thus he does not know good from bad. But I think you have been put under a spell. Since internally you are prejudiced against him, but externally you show yourself differently. Laughing, they said, falling at your feet, we swear that we are not under some amazing spell. She then began to think, according to Garga's word, the Lord's powers are covering the boy, and he does not know what is happening. She repeatedly brought churning ropes from the women's houses to see the limits of astonishment and tried to bind him up, but found no way to do so. Attempting to bind her son, she found no end. In his endless task, perspiration flowed over her limbs and her hair became loose. As much as Krishna made effort to show his stubbornness, Yashoda's attempts became useless, as if under the influence of bad planets. It is understood that when his mind became moved by fatigue, this is what we discussed the last time, the verse. Swamatur Svinna Gatraya, Visrasta Kavarasraja, Parisramam, Parisramam, so what is that? Gopi, Prasadam, I'm forgetting the last line. When Lord Krishna saw her endeavor, she's perspiring, she's tired, then he allowed. So that's what we also have to try our best. We put our best efforts and depend on the Lord, then he will give his mercy. So that's what has been happening here also. He became bound up by the first two. Hare Krishna. Thank you for coming. Please come. By the first two ropes alone, all other ropes became unnecessary. The performer of actions, Yogamaya, acting according to his desires, as I told. This is the personality, Yogamaya, here. Created this incident for his mother, which appeared like some illusion. Yogamaya performed such acts daily. Having tied up Krishna, she lengthened the rope with the other ropes and tied him to a mortar. Having tied him up, showing harshness to him to teach him, his mother went to do her household chores with the other women who were laughing. She placed other boys around him to protect him. Anyway, this pastime continues. This is the pastime. Now the lessons, which is which will go back to the Bhagavad Gita, where in Bhagavad Gita third chapter, Arjuna is asking, um, why is that I'm being forced to engage? This in verse number 34, I think, 35, 36, 37 from chapter 3, Karma Yoga. Arjuna is asking, why is that? Yeah, Kim Prayuktena. So, what is that which is causing me to engage in the sinful activity by force? I don't want to do it, but still I am being forced to engage in the sinful activity. What is that? The Krishna is telling that Kama Yesa Krodha Yesa Rajoguna Sabutbhava Mahasano Mahapapma Vidhi Enam Hi Vairinam. So this is only lust, Arjuna. It is sitting in mind, senses, intelligence, lust, anger, greed. This is in the third chapter, from 36. Then how to conquer it. Then it talks about it, knowledge, jnana nasanam. By the transcendental knowledge, you can destroy this lust, anger, greed. And the last verse of the third chapter is the conclusion. That is the main verse. How to control this mind, how to control these unwanted habits, the internal, the heart filled with these things from the past lives. So by transcendental knowledge, by hearing about the Supreme Lord, about ourselves, what is our original original Swarupa, original relationship. We are the spirit soul, we are not this body. Right now, the soul is covered by this gross body because we are trying to enjoy separately from the Lord. So that's a last verse says, Evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhya atmanam atman jehi satrum. This satrum means this enemy. What is the enemy? Kama, krodha, lobha. Lust, anger, greed. So रजोगुण समुद्र महासनो महा या संस्तभ्य आत्मान जय शत्रु महाभाव काम रूप दुरासतम. It's extremely difficult to one to conquer this. Only when you purify this intelligence with sharpen with intelligence with transcendental knowledge, then the mind will be subdued, then the senses will be subdued. Otherwise, it is not possible by any other means. So that's why transcendental knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita is all talking about that only. Not the ordinary knowledge. Material knowledge is not enough. That we can maintain our basic necessities. That is not enough. So that is so that is called Jada Vidya, Mayara Vaivav, Tumara Bhajana Bada. That is what is causing. Jada Vidya means this material education. Yes, to maintain yourself, which is fine, but we need to do much more than that. As a human being, this is meant to be. One should know beyond this body. So there is soul. So that about the soul and about the super soul, that relationship has to be understood. So that's what Lord is telling. Transcendental means then we have to transcend these modes. We have to transcend this bodily identity. We have to transcend the identity crisis Arjuna is going through. He doesn't want to do job. He wants to get away from the job, run away from job. We also try to do that many times. When there's a problem, I want to give up family, I want to give up this, I want to give up that. So that running away is not going to work. We have to understand the situation properly and how problem can be solved through Bhagavad Gita, through the Shastra, through the Acharyas. Then we can tackle it probably like Arjuna has tackled finally after he heard the transcendental knowledge from Krishna. This is the one section. Now going back to the 16th chapter, same point Krishna is mentioning there also. Three vidam narakasyedam mohanam atmana. Three gates to hell. So there also same thing. Lust, anger, greed. And these are three gates to hell. So kama, krodha, lobha. Now come back to the chapter, Canto 7, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prahlad Maharaj pastimes, last chapter, instruction to civilized human beings, 15th chapter. There, verse number 19, 20, 21 is talking about the same thing, but important instruction being given about this greed. There it's talked about. Okay, we have a Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Out of all these three, the Lobha is the most worst enemy. That is the biggest problem. Because if you have Kama, so then somehow you can satisfy. You can get then maybe it will cause anger if that is not fully satisfied. That anger maybe you will become upset. You will chastise somebody. You will give the reaction will come out. You will burst and then done. So, but the greed is this cannot be satisfied at all. So ordinarily by more you do it, more it will never be fulfilled. So that greed is the problem. There it is. Asantastoi, one who is not satisfied. Two problems is mentioned. For anybody who wants to progress spiritually, who wants to develop some happiness internally, two things has to be avoided. One is a poverty stricken is one problem. If one is poverty stricken, he can take up this Krishna. He can take up any spiritual subject. He cannot understand because he is completely he's trying to maintain himself, meeting the two ends, eating, sleeping, meeting. That itself is a big problem. Poverty that is not going to work. The second problem is the greed. Material greed, you may earn millions of dollars, however, then one is not satisfied with anything, then he'll never be. How much ever he may earn, he will not be. He will go on doing it only. He'll never satisfy this greed. So the greed, that is a material greed. Now that material greed has to be transformed to spiritual greed. So that's why this Krishna conscious society is established by Srila Prabhupada. So, or Acharya. So there he uses the Rupa Goswami's word. This material greed, this is the problem. Then how do you rectify it? There in this, after few verses, the solution is being given. That one has to engage in the service of the Lord, especially to the parampara, especially the spiritual master. Etat sarvam guru bhaktya. Purusha Anjasa Jayat, everything, all these various problems, lust, anger, greed, problem with weakness, no determination, all the various problems, all these are talked about. At the end result, with this you can do temporarily, it gives solution, but at the end he says, if you just do If you surrender to a spiritual master, you follow the parampara, you practice it, then you can conquer pretty much everything. And then you can attain perfection. You'll go back home, back to Godhead. So that is the ultimate solution. You don't need to do this temporary patching. But again, you'll come back to the square one. You'll still again and again, these things will keep popping up through different austerity, charity. You can only do some purification, but again, this internal heart desire is there, still keep coming out. So that's why it is very important to know. So there, Rupa Goswami is making the statement, verse Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati Kriyatam api yadi labhyate Tatra Laulyam Ekala Mulyam Tatra Laulyam. This is called spiritual greed. That is what Yasodamaya has said. That's why Krishna was bound with ropes of affection because of our love. That greed for Krishna, not for material things. So when that greed is when Krishna is in the center, our life slowly, gradually, then naturally, we will feel satisfied with whatever we have. We will endeavor it. Whatever comes on our way, we will accept and we will be satisfied. We will not hanker, oh, I didn't get it. Other person got nice car. Other person has nice home. I don't have it. He is getting promoted. I don't have it. There's lots of money. I don't have it. So this won't happen. For the person who is following this process, that will gradually vanish. That unsatisfied, asantushta. This is the biggest problem. If one is having this asantushta, in spiritual advancement cannot happen because it constantly will be agitated by that only. So that's why we have to take shelter of this parampara acharyas and serve them. Then naturally one will feel the bliss. This greed, material greed, will become spiritual greed. So that's why that greed has to develop. When can I serve? How can I serve the Lord? How can I serve the devotees? This is the process. We don't deny anything. We accept. We use the things, our car, our home, our family, everything, resources, whatever we have, everything used in the service of the Lord. That's all. We're not. That's the whole purpose of Bhagavad Gita is all only. Wherever you are, be comfortable, but transform how you use it. In what consciousness you do things. That is the only change. Arjuna was as he is. Arjuna had a grahastha. Arjuna had wife. Arjuna had children. Pandavas all had. And then all he has to do is, as per instruction of Krishna, he has to fight. That's all. For Krishna, he has to fight, not for himself. If he would have done for himself because I want to fight, then result would have been different. Because Krishna said so, then Arjuna did it because on the instruction of Guru, he did it. So that's the result is victorious. Result is perfection. It didn't contaminate. So many people were killed, otherwise it would have been simple activity also. But he didn't get any contamination. They didn't get entangled. Rather, it has been told that actually all of them, their bodies become spiritualized. Generally, in our case, we have to go through all these 14 planetary systems at the end of life. Then we enter into a planet where Krishna is performing pastimes. Then where we'll be trained and we'll be attain spiritual bodies. No more material body. Spiritual mind, spiritual body, spiritual, everything spiritual it will become. But it doesn't happen in this material world, in this earthly planet. But in Pandava's case, it has happened because they were so much in fire of anxiety for the Lord, so much greed for the Lord, their bodies automatically became spiritualized. No more material body left. Their everything, their body, senses, mind, everything became spiritualized. Lord is maintaining them. So they themselves are not interested to even eat, sleep, mate, all these things. They forgot. They are forgetting themselves. So Lord is making sure they eat properly, they maintain. Lord is reminding, Lord is making it happen. So the Govinda Paridamri, that has happened in especially Prahlad Maharaj, Pandavas, Madhavendra Puri, special places it is called out. Gopis, Lord is personally maintaining them. So they don't want to maintain themselves. They want to serve. They are constant thinking of how they are going to survive. That is Lord is doing. So this is what out of affection Lord will do because they are always thinking of the Lord. The Lord is the same thing with the Yasodamaya and Gopis. Vrindavan consciousness is there. They're always thinking of the Lord. Lord is thinking always them. So that's why he's performing these pastimes in Vrindavan more, not not so much in all other places. This kind of intimate pastimes nowhere else. In nowhere else, no other planets, no other holy place, these pastimes will happen. Only this much intimate pastimes only happens in Golokuna because intimacy increases from Vaikuntha to Ayodhya to Dwaraka to Jagannath Puri to Mathura to Golokuna is the topmost planet. So there the intensity will goes to the peak. So You will not have these pastimes, these intimate pastimes, any other place, any other incarnation. It's not possible. So that's why is Rasraj, Vaso Vaisaha, is the Rasa Sekara, Krishna. So Shama Sundar, Vajendra Nandan Krishna especially. So that is the beauty of this pastime. So that is what the whole Damodar month has different layers. We talked about this greed, material greed to the spiritual greed. One should try to transform that. That will help. That means we should be always happy with whatever will of the providence is providing, whatever things may be happening. We tolerate it and we be happy and continue on be happily. So that will help us to progress in devotion service nicely. And so if you are happy, naturally the rest of the family can be happy. If you are miserable, we're always thinking, oh, this is not there, that is not there. I'm always, then we're always upset. Then we always fight. Then we always argue. We'll never cooperate. So this will be the opposite side of the effect, the result of the when we are not happy. But if we are happy, then everything we take it, so aram say. So we're happy. So okay, let it be so. What can we do? Move on. So this is what Damodar Lila is teaching us how to view things. Because in the whole spectrum of life, whatever things are happening every day, teeny, in 60, 70, 80 years of life, whatever every day, small things, that is nothing. If we take that small thing into the big thing and making a big bubble and burst, coming out anger and frustration and anxiety and no point, no use. So why to bother so much? So realize there's much more than this in life. So this is not end of it. So that's why we should be satisfied with what we have, whatever goes on, because it's everything is happening under the divine supervision. So nothing is in our control. We can only do with limited independence we have. We have only small things, a few things in our control. Rest of things anyway under his control. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suhita. Karmana daiva netran. Again and again it's told. The whole prakriti is under the direction of the Supreme Lord. Daiva netran. All the actions, everything is happening under the divine supervision. Karmana daiva netran. Jantor devapati. We received this body also under his supervision only. So that's why we have no choice. Either you accept willingly, then you become a devotee. If you don't accept willingly, if you are atheist or doesn't believe it, then you will be forced. You will be forced. That Durga Devi will do. So either way, you have no choice. One is willingly, if you do it, that will be very nice because so you will attain perfection. If you are not willing, then Durga Devi, material energy will grab it. So that's the only difference. So guaranteed because everybody has to go through the death. There is no way one can cross over. Whether you enter into spiritual world, whether you pass away with nice and happily, or you pass away miserably. So that we have to decide how you want to pass the test. You want to pass the test nicely, or you want to fail the test. It's up to us. Choice is given to us. We can decide. Nobody is going to force. Krishna is not going to force. Sadhu is not going to force. Guru is not going to force. Everybody has individual choice. Krishna is only giving suggestions. If you do this, it is better for you. You can live happily, and the rest of everybody else around you will be happy, and then go happily out from this world and in the spiritual world. And with that, we'll stop here. Om Tat Sat. Anyone has a question, comments, reflections? You understood? Ashesh Karan Jagannath too. But you got the last essence. Yeah. Anyone has questions on the Zoom? A simple point, but it's not easy. It requires lots of practice. Atul Prabhu, you have a question?
No
Or anyone
problem, I'm
else?
good.
Okay. Anyone else? Kids, how about kids? So, I want to quote this verse and we'll stop. 7:15:21. Okay. Three gates of hell. Yes. Envy is also there, but specifically called out as lust, anger, greed. These three things are called out in third chapter. These three things are called out again in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, many places. Yes, the root cause is from envy. This is from envy. These three things are coming. Originally is envy, the false ego. False ego transformed as envy. Envy transformed as lust, anger, greed. Yeah. Yes. That is, the verse used is the 7th chapter Bhagavad Gita, verse number 26 or 27. Icha dvesha samutvena. Dvesha and icha. That means separately desiring from the Lord, and dvesha enviousness of the Lord. So that is coming from the false ego. There it's the real ego in the spiritual world. So that real ego becomes transformed in material world as a false ego. That means I am the master, I am the God. So I don't want to serve you. So then material world is created for that purpose. Just like the prison. Those who doesn't want to follow government rule, they will be in the prison. So this material world is called prison. So until we decide, then Krishna will allow us to be here, running around different planet, different families, and so like that. When we decide, finally, willingly, then he's waiting, and then we'll be transported to the spiritual world. So that's it. So that's what is explained.
Only one I'll share on this.
Yeah.
I was able to see the passing away of our neighbor.
Yeah. Yes.
Through the eyes of
Very good.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very well accomplished. He's an engineer from Romania. He came from Romania in the 80s.
Yeah, we speak up a little more.
Yeah,
Those who are on the Zoom can hear.
Our next door neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said Paul.
Paul Marici. You know, Marici is Brahma's son. It's interesting how Romanians also have a last name of Marici. So the family came here in the 80s, very well accomplished. He worked at Becton Dickinson. You know, it's a very
Yeah.
He has 19 patents. He has 19 patents. When we met, when my wife Aparna and I met his daughter, she said, I don't understand one thing. He did so much for people. He built all these instruments that can create, diagnose brain cancer, but he got brain cancer. Now I cannot talk. We are there for to condolences. But in my mind, I was running. It's the four, 5 things you said, right? Part of it is karma and prakriti. People understand God a little bit and soul a little bit, but where we don't understand is prakriti and karma. And and so, I shouldn't say this. He's been my neighbor, but everything we think in terms of not what we should not do. I have seen it. And so how to explain that, Prabhu? When it comes to share, it's such a very close knowledge. It's very difficult to help understand people. We can do it within our own family members. But to do it with others, where we see that they are struggling, it's very difficult. It's how to explain that.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Only you can pray to the Lord, and you can give prasadam. You can give a book. That's all. When they open up, when they are ready, then Lord inspires them. Then we can share if they are ready. They are in the mood to accept. So otherwise, it's very difficult because coming from completely different background. So that's all we can do. For pure devotee, they can do it. But for us, it will become difficult to penetrate to them. And then,
so my realization in this is that although I was able to understand it from Shastra and our Guru's teaching, but it's practically to be able to explain this so that we can help them. It's very and maybe it's wrong to think that way, because I was probably like that 10 years ago. So it's the same thing, right? But I think that's where I think Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's
10 years ago you are vegetarian, Prabhu?
Yes.
The way we had in some of places, my spiritual master, so he was there many times, hospital, he is going to treatment. So he used to give immediate, when the person is dying, some places, sometimes, immediately used to either give a book, Bhagavad Gita, or to ask them to chant, put the tulsi and various things, depending on what situation is in. Immediately, sometimes he himself is not properly in the position, but as he saw it or he heard it, immediately he used to do that. As I said, pure devotee can do. But for us, immediate thoughts may not come, and then we may not be able to do many things. That's the natural
So
reality.
in villages, I've seen people who understand is about to die put Ganga Jal in their
Yeah,
mouth.
that at the last. Yeah. Yes.
So
That's during the last breath.
if they understand,
But we don't know what is the last breath, right?
the
Most of the
people,
time.
old people, put Ganga in their mouth.
It's always generally with our as much as possible we distribute prasadam and books with neighbors also. It doesn't matter Indian, American. At least close neighbors. We can see and then see, fruit or sweet depending on generally what they like.
we have done that.
Yeah, that's all. That means,
Without saying prasadam.
correct. So that means they have received some sukriti. So where they will start, that means they have started their life, bhakti life. Where they will go, that's up to the God. We can only pray. So today, while putting Damodar Lila, let us offer on His name. So this is the best credit we can give. On His name, also we should offer one lamp each of us. So then he can start his journey in better life, in a better place. He can improve his situation. So yeah, we'll close this up with 7:15:21, the verse which I was mentioning.
So we have blessed today with two
Of our family friends. They're here.
Yeah.
Actually, it takes a bit to know.
Yeah, thank you very much. Prabhu, 1 and 2, right? Nilesh Prabhu and Ananda. I think I have seen you before, I think. Haribol, thank you very much. Let's chant. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Let me say this verse and then we'll close it up. 7:15:21 from Srimad Bhagavatam. O King Yudhishthira, many persons with varied experience, many legal advisors, many learned scholars, many persons eligible to become presidents of learned assemblies fall down into hellish life because of not being satisfied with their positions. This is the problem we are telling. No, not satisfied. For spiritual advancement, purport by Srila Prabhupada, very important purport. One should be materially satisfied. For if one is not materially satisfied, his greed for material development will result in frustration of his spiritual advancement. There are two things that nullify all good qualities. One is poverty, daridra dosho, guna rasi nasi. If one is poverty stricken, all his good qualities become null and void. Similarly, one becomes too greedy, his good qualification are lost. Therefore, the adjustment is that one should not be poverty stricken, but one must try to be fully satisfied with bare necessities of life and not be greedy. For a devotee to be satisfied with bare necessities is therefore the best advice for spiritual advancement. Learned authorities in devotional life consequently advise that one not endeavor to increase the number of temples and mutts. That is a higher instruction, not for us. We're not able to do that anyway. That is important principle. So that's why be satisfied because we may have hundreds of desires, but we know it is not going. We are not going to get all those things. So we can try, but whatever comes on our way, be satisfied. That's it. Even in the advancement also, but we should try our best to do more and more. That's all. But if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. Then we have to keep praying it. Patient and tolerant and move on. Because it's not in our hands. Bhakti also is not in our hands. So endeavor has to be there. Mercy has to come from the Guru, Parampara, and the Lord only. The advancement, Anardas, all these has to, yeah, the Lord has to intervene. Guru has to intervene. Then only. So that's why we have to be sad. That doesn't mean that now I'll sit, okay, I'll relax. So that also is not a good sign. Enthusiasm has to be there. Patience, it is a balance. Striking balance has to be there. So that is the point. With that, we'll stop here.